What's up, everybody? So I wanted to do an update about my job. So a bit of a recap from my last video. I was scheduled to work today at 12 noon, and I work at Dickey's Barbecue in Hesperia, California. I was scheduled to work at 12 noon. I get there a little bit early because I take the bus to work, and I noticed there was a sign on the door. It said it was closed. The door was closed, and there's a sign on the door. It said that the person was out for deliveries, and it was my boss. So my female boss, she was out doing catering orders, and it says she wasn't going to be back until 12:30. Okay, but I'm scheduled at 12 o'clock. So we do group chat on Facebook, and so I go in the group chat, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm here, and its sign says she's not going to be back until 12 o'clock. So if she, or 12:30, and so if she's not back, am I going to start getting paid at 12 o'clock, right? And in the group chat is my boss and the franchise owner and the employees, right? And so all the franchisee says is, oh yeah, she'll be back soon, not any particular time or whatever. She'll be back soon, and she didn't get back at 12:30, but I'll get back to that, right? Okay, so I'm like, okay, but am I going to get paid starting at 12 o'clock? And once again, as soon as 12 o'clock hit, I said, okay, it's 12 o'clock. I'm here at the store, ready to clock in. He didn't say anything, the franchisor, okay? And so I sit there, I wait, 12:15, 12:30. Finally at 12:45, my boss, the female, she shows up. And I'm like, I kind of talked to her a little bit about it. I'm like, hey, it's unprofessional. He didn't say anything to me, like, he's gonna make sure that I'm gonna get paid. And she kind of just shrugs it off, like, oh yeah, you're gonna get paid from 12 o'clock or whatever, right? And then as we go in the store, she tells me, she's like, well, as a matter of fact, I texted you this morning on your phone saying don't come in at all today, because she knew she was gonna be out doing delivery for catering orders. I'm like, well, I only have one cell phone, between me and my girlfriend, and I don't check that all the time. And I know you guys are like, well, that's your fault. You didn't check your text, right? But hold on a second. When I first started working there, she told me, she's the head boss, she told me that it's required that we have the Facebook Messenger, because that's where we're going to do all of, she's going to post the schedule on there, and they always post pictures on there of, if anything's wrong in the store or all that stuff. Everything's done through Facebook Messenger, the contact. So that's what I go through. I don't check the text on the phone, because everything is done through Facebook Messenger. That's where everybody posts. So I check there every morning throughout the day. I see their post, and she didn't post anything about not coming in to work on the Facebook Messenger. So, okay, you could chop up that whole thing to miscommunication, whatever. They need to be specific. Are you going to contact me on Facebook Messenger or through texts? And if I wasn't responding through text, then contact me on Facebook Messenger and tell me don't come in. Again, especially when I started working there, you specifically tell me that it's required that I have Facebook Messenger. Matter of fact, I just got there's just a notification from Facebook Messenger, somebody posted on there. So anyhow, so that didn't happen, right? Okay, but besides all of that, my other complaints are still legitimate, still are there. Like I was saying, that in the back of the store, it's really cold. I even told her about that. I said, it's really cold in the back of the store for some reason. I said, especially at the night, it's like freezing cold in there. I mean, my nose gets runny. It's bad. It's cold, right? It's like, oh, she went to the box where what's that called? Not like the light switches, like the main switches for like the circuit breakers. And she was like, oh, this one needs to be clicked. And it was. And I said, she was like, oh yeah, the heater should be on. I go back there. I said, no, it's still cold. And it was cold the whole time I was working today too. So it's like, they don't get it. It's cold. And it's not just me. Another guy that I work with, he sniffles and stuff too. So anyhow, so that's a problem. And I wasn't going to mention it, but there's other things that go on that are a bit suspicious, or a bit, I don't know, that don't seem right. Like, I mean, I've worked in food service since like 98. so what was that, 24 years, almost 25 years, right? And so I kind of know what's supposed to go on and not supposed to go on, right? And so, for example, one thing that kind of like I don't like, or that not that I don't like it just seems unsanitary, right? So it's a meat, Dickey's Barbecue, and we cut different types of meat. We cut chicken, pork, steak, turkey, right? Or beef, turkey, right? All done on the same cutting board. That's kind of weird to me, first of all. It's not like there's different cutting boards for different meats. All the meats are cut on one cutting board. Like I said, chicken, beef, pork, and turkey, all cut on the same cutting board. The same knives, they're all intertwined. It's not like, oh, we have one knife for the pork and one knife for the beef or anything. No, all the knives are used for all the meats, whatever one you want to use. Okay, but the biggest thing is the cutting board is not washed all day. So in the morning, at night, the cutting board is clean, and when we close, and so in the morning, it's a fresh cutting board, but it ain't washed anymore throughout the day, the whole day until the nighttime. So all that meat is cut on there throughout the whole day. They scrape off some of the meat, but all the juices and everything are still on the cutting board, and it's just there all day. I mean, imagine that at your house. Imagine for whatever reason you're cooking barbecue or something all day, and you're chopping different meats on the same cutting board, but for like 10-12 hours you don't cut the cutting board. You don't clean the cutting board. I would clean it if it was at my house. First of all, I wouldn't be cutting the same meats different meats on the same cutting board, and I would be cleaning the cutting board at least, I don't know, every couple hours or something, but it doesn't get cleaned all day. So that's one thing that's kind of doesn't seem sanitary. Sorry, I'm just watching for the buses, make sure I don't miss my bus. And like the size, another example, like we have mac and cheese and baked potato casserole, and they're in a pan inside of a warmer, right? But those also sit there all day. So they get put there in the morning inside the warmer, in the pans, and say people don't come in and order baked potato casserole or mac and cheese, they'll sit there for hours. Never gets replaced. From my understanding, for my food safety and food handler training, I thought after the food sits there for a couple hours, you're supposed to toss it out. Like say the mac and cheese, you put in there, say, I forget when we open, say 11 o'clock we open, just say. And you put the mac and cheese in there, fresh, right? And an hour goes by, 2, 3, 4 hours. People buy some, but it doesn't all go away, right? After 3 or 4 hours, even if it's on a warmer, I thought you're supposed to throw it out and put a new mac and cheese in, but it won't. That mac and cheese will sit there all day, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, all the way. I come in at 5 o'clock, still there. 6, 7 o'clock, it's still there. Like I said, if people don't order all the mac and cheese in the bin, it'll sit there. And it's the same thing with the potatoes, with the coleslaw, with all of it, all the cold items like the coleslaw and the lettuce or whatever. They, like I said, they're in pans and there's a cold thing below it. But I thought that's supposed to be switched out. Anyhow, so overall, just some things that in my experience as a food handler. Oh, another thing, I did the Caesar dressing today, right? And nowadays things are more strict than they were, say 25 years ago. Nowadays everything is supposed to be dated. Okay, so like we do like little cups, and you pour like dressing in there, like Caesar or ranch or whatever, right? And in other places you would date them or something, right? And they just color code them. They're like, oh, this color is, it's just like you have to like memorize it. It's like, oh yeah, if this color and there's so many, then that one's the oldest. It's very like not specific. It's like there should be dates on there. There should be dates that say, oh, these were packaged on 12/5/2022, whatever the date is, right? No dates. They just put just put a C on there for Caesar dressing, and use this color marker. Oh, and the other color markers, those were for the older ones. But it's like, okay, what if somebody forgets? And what if you put them in the pan wrong, and you forget what color is the oldest one? They get mixed up. It needs to have dates. And so that's another weird thing. Like a lot of things don't have dates on there. I don't know. Maybe I'm complaining, but I was gonna keep quiet about all this stuff. But after today, and with all this nonsense of making me sit there. So I sat there. I was there a little early, but I was supposed to start working at 12 o'clock. It was closed. So I sat there outside from 12 to 12:45, out in the cold, waiting for someone to show up. And regardless of the miscommunication with the text, okay, I should have seen the text or whatever, forget that. If I'm the owner of the establishment and I know that my employee, the manager, is out doing deliveries, I'm going to go to the store and open it up. You don't just leave your business closed. And matter of fact, while I was sitting there, the Uber Eats or DoorDashers, whatever they're called, that, you know, get orders for other people, they came and were like, oh, hey, I'm here to pick up order. I'm like, they're not here. I don't know when they're going to be back. Supposedly they're going to be back at 12:30. That didn't happen. Ended up coming back at 12:45. And so there's people who didn't even get their food. It just seems very unprofessional as for the owner to not go be like, oh shoot, okay, my employee has to go do deliveries. I need to get there and you know, open my establishment up. So it's just very unprofessionally run establishment. Some things, in my opinion, don't seem very safe. I wouldn't eat the meats there. I definitely wouldn't eat the coleslaw that sits there all day. Nobody ever really gets the coleslaw. It sits there all day. I don't know how long that sits there. The mac and cheese, sometimes it gets all crusty, and you know, we still serve it. Only thing I would eat there, honestly, is the fried items, because that goes from the frozen just to the fryer. So that's about the freshest thing there. But I would not eat anything else from there. That's just me. But anyhow, that's the end of my rant. So that's it.